Welcome to another Jarvis video series. In this particular video, I'm going to be going over a loss that I made. There was a one that I posted earlier this morning of the win, the 1.23R win, which was awesome. Here, I had to take a loss because um, I wasn't paying attention again. Okay, um, and I just did a kill switch because I just felt like this wasn't working anymore and I had to get out. Okay, so I got out at a loss. It is what it is. But let's get stuff started here. So we're gonna get this going. So the macro prints. Okay. Hold on. Start this again. Sometimes you got to start over because the Jarvis doesn't load. All right, here we go. Sell. Okay. So now, let's pause this here for a second. So MNQ macros run between 9:30 to 12 o'clock, and then from 2 to 4. That's where you get the most volume. That's all that macro means basically. It's just more market, market makers pushing more volume through these trades. So, so what's printing down here? Sniper wise, right? You have your confirmation. This is your confirmation badge. That takes care of between the signal and the confirmation. As you can tell, it was C1 and C2. That's all it was. That gave you this B key. And you have statistics for this guy, right? One sample was 100% win rate. There was no extra R's besides the one R. Look at the duration, 22 bars. So literally 44 minutes to get TP. So this is a grinder type of key, okay? It's not a fast key at all. Um, so what did I do to take this trade? What I saw first. First, this sell signal came through. This candle came through. It closed below this OHLC 2 degrees stat map um, bearish manipulation. Um, so that's 2 degrees. This macro as well you see up here is also 2 degrees. Simple pine script for this one. But this I love this OHLC. So shout out to 2 degrees for that. It's amazing. It literally tells you exactly where all the liquidities are, so you don't have to worry about trying to draw your own lines. Trying to draw your own liquidity points. OHLC takes care of that. So I saw this close below it, so I'm like, okay, this is means there's some direction happening here. So when this happened, and after confirmation, most of this, about 95 to 97% of the HUD is already filled out by the time this confirmation is done. So by the time this candle is completed, all this is already here. So what do we see that points out? First, you go to the DNA, right? Unstable, structure-led persistence with an exclamation, and the confidence score is a 0. So technically, Jarvis, at the point of this candle, which was a weak A1, there was no A1 print here. This DNA evaluated. This DNA row will evaluate in 3 scenarios. So take a pen and pad out and write this down, or watch this video again. It's going to evaluate when the badge is a momentum badge. When Jarvis notices that a structure has extreme momentum, it will literally print. You see this label says A2. It will say C2 or C3. That's in the confirmation stage. Jarvis will print that badge. When it prints that badge, DNA will be NA, meaning it's not going to continue with the evaluation. It's not going to go through acceptance, commitment, audit. It's not going to do any of that because it's a momentum trade. The next scenario that DNA will get evaluated is if this A1 prints weak. So if acceptance is weak, it will print this DNA line. And then thirdly, it will print when commitment A2 prints. So these are the only 3 scenarios this DNA will get evaluated here. Acceptance was weak. Okay, so acceptance was weak, so this printed here. If acceptance was strong, because there's another flow. If acceptance is strong, this candle is not a commitment candle. This is a follow through candle, which is considered audit. Okay, so you got the signal, which is C1 candle, confirmation, which can be C2 or C3. You have acceptance, you have audit, and you have commitment, and then you can execute. Basically, is what it is. About 3 or 4 to 5 candles max. You're gonna know. Jarvis will tell you everything you need to know about this structure. So it was a week, so that's why I printed this. Now, even with a weak acceptance, Jarvis says this is neutral. So it's interesting, right? It wasn't -1, it wasn't -2 or -3, it was zero. The this confidence score can either be zero, neutral, or it can be a positive number or a negative number. So it was zero. So and it happened on a weak acceptance. So what do you do? What did I do? I said, okay, this is zero, it's neutral, cool. So the only thing that you can do is post Jarvis evaluation. You can rung, R-U-N-G, R-U-N-G. You can rung this confidence score based off of only two specific elements inside of the HUD. One is if commitment prints. If a commitment prints, you can rung it. Okay. Um, and runging it would mean like, okay, if a strong commitment. Now was a weak commitment, so technically I wouldn't rung this because it was weak anyway. This was a strong commitment though. Yeah, definitely you could add like a +1 or a +2 on this zero. If it's already positive, zero is neutral, right? So it's not negative, it's not positive, but it's neutral. From zero and up, if a commitment strong prints and this is green, which is strong, then you can do, 1 point. If it's negative, then you can do 2 points. Because basically it's saying the structure was very weak, my confidence was very weak, but this commitment really came in and saved the day. That has more strength than if the structure is already strong and you have commitment. It's just basically commitments, then it's just confirming the strength, right? So in this particular instance, we couldn't run it on commitment, so we just left it at zero. But we could run on this. This was DC death cross down below in the territory, and it has a dot A, which means it is also aligned, which is high time frame and low time frame are aligned. They are in agreement for this death cross below. So this alone, you can run this 1 or 2 points. Okay, that's it. You can't run anything else in regards to this confidence score. Okay, but since we already like neutral, this even adding just 1 point to this, you're moving in the right direction. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is looking good. It's a B key. It's not a D or an E key. It's a decent key. B is above C. C is like the neutral key. Okay. This is B. A is the best, obviously. So this is a decent key. It's not bad. The first sample it hit TP. So shout out to that. But it took 22, bars, which is 44 minutes. This is a grinder. Okay. 44 minutes in a trade is kind of crazy. But it's not unusual. It happens on MNQ often. So now, how did I enter? Okay. When you look at TDS, before you enter, always look at this row. Okay. Tempo, drift, and state. Tempo was a runner, so that's good. Solid. That means it's got some movement in there. It's got some energy in there. Price is ahead of the structure. That's also good. And I'll explain that in a minute of what that means. Next is balance. Now the balance, I tell you what, I really don't like balance often because balance means indecision. You really don't know where this structure is going to go. That's why when you don't know where the structure is going to go, you don't want to enter too close to price. So obviously I have this paused, okay, because we're talking through it. But let's say this printed just now A2 and it's zero. I'm not going to enter here. It's too close to price because of this balance. Balance is like right? Um, Thirdly, look at the participation at snapshot. It was opposing. See, H is up. This is a sell signal, selling into opposing pressure. That already tells you I need to take a little time here. But me not reading the room yet again, and Jarvis telling me this and not paying attention yet again, what I did was I put the short here. I shorted here. If price is here and I start my entry here as a limit, it's too close. And you're gonna see what happened. So what I did was I pulled this up to this wick here because the max that I go for my ticks is 250. I'm trying to work up this prop firm with utilizing Jarvis, so I'm not trying to blow that account, right? So I'm very, very, got a doctrine when it comes to my ticks. So my risk was 250 is my max. So the furthest I can go was this wick. Okay. I mean, I could have cut it. I could have ticket. Yeah, I couldn't even take it to here because now it's 261. So the best that I could do was here. Okay. When I'm going in the market, I go for at least 1R. All right. Keep it simple, man. I mean, I'm not trying to get much from the market. 1R is good enough for me as I build this prop firm. But I did say, look, it closed below this OHLC bearish manipulation. Let me take this thing down to the neutral zone, which is here. Okay. This two lines here, this is Jarvis. This is the bullish PTR, which is the potential trend reversal that happened 189 bars ago. Okay, keeping track of this, and you see the up tells you that it's bullish. So now I'm here. Okay, this is a decent sized candle. Let's go ahead and play through what was happening here. All right. So I get tapped in here. Just crazy, just popped up like crazy. Look at that. I'm like, okay, now I'm sweating up here a little bit. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Straddling this, you know, bearish manipulation finally starts to come down. Got a little bit of breathing room. I'm like, okay, we're kind of like on our way here. This is looking good. All right, but then it comes back up, and I'm like, oh crap, what's going on? Right? Then it comes back down, and now, let me pause it for a second. When this signal first launched, right, first fired, and A2 printed, and I entered here, you see the alignment now? You see what the drift says? It says aligned. Before it said ahead. How did this change? This is a real-time every bar evaluation. What it does is it uses the historic value, the historic structure in the samples. The duration of it is an average. So Jarvis says, well, it took 22 bars. So every bar that is printing is getting close to this average. This changes over time. This is something you got to really pay attention to while you're going through your trade, because now it's aligned, meaning that it's caught up. Now it's caught up now to where the other structure was. And technically, if it caught up to where the structure was, we should be hitting TP. We haven't hit TP yet. Look, it's playing right inside of my stop loss area, which I didn't like. I did like that, the Bollinger Band upper was coming down, which was cool, right? It definitely tucked into my stop loss, below my stop loss here, which is good. I like to see that. But guess what? Look what it was doing. It was basically compressing into a corridor, and that corridor was my stop loss, which is freaking nuts. So now I'm playing this through, okay, um, and I'm getting very nervous. Okay, so at this point, I see this buy. Okay, this is a pre-signal. See, it's yellow. It's not an actual buy yet. It's just telling you that there's something happening here. I got out of here at this point. I did lose. I mean, I lost maybe half of half of my risk if you look at it. And this could have been avoided, right? So let's go ahead and play through. Now, as you can see, it kept going, right? Kept going. Boom. So technically, at least I got out half. because I got stomped out here. I felt like it was going where it was going because I was watching these bands. You know, Jarvis already has the EMA 21, the 50, and the 200 for you. So you just watch these bands and see what happens. I add the Bollinger Bands just to give a nice structured um, flow to the structure, basically, because everything is all blocky, right? It's very blocky. But the Bollinger Bands add some liquid around that block to see how the market sentiment is flowing. But as you can see here, I got out with with half of my loss. Okay. Now, what could I have done that would have been better? Okay, take a look at this guy. First, this is where we are right now, right? All right. I was not supposed to enter here because this is balanced. Balance means indecision. Okay. This happened at snapshot. When this confirmation got snapshotted, this is what came up. Balance. So what I was supposed to do on this short was enter here. Okay. Now I can actually bring my stop to here. Right? One. Watch what's going to happen. And this is why I said like you really gotta pay attention. Okay? Let's play this through. As you can see, pretty much staying right in that zone. Stop loss is still, I mean, I'm still in here, right? I'm still in here, but, you know, okay. Macro is finished. We're now like kind of like after hours, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock ish. It's going. All right, there we go. See? There we go. See that? There we go. Boom. See that? So here, TP here. Now, this took a long time. 2 o'clock to what? 4:40. Look at the drift. Stretched. It means that I've gone way beyond 22 bars. And now I'm in stretch mode. But here's the thing. Never got tapped out. It was playing, don't get me wrong, it was playing inside of my stop loss, but it wasn't too bad, right? Um, because technically I got tapped in here, right? So if I enter here, A2 printed here, you wait, always remember, right? The SEI, which is structure, elasticity, intelligence, you manually enter that yourself. That is a temporal time of the idea still being able to be having the expected outcome without decay. That means that if you count 12 bars from A2, 12 bars. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You get your vertical out, and I miscounted, but whatever, something here. Boom. So what it is if it's here, right? I got tapped in here, so I'm way before 12 bars, so I was good. Now I was already in some decent profit at this point. I wasn't too far off, right? From this tap in, came in down here. But here's the beauty of this and why Jarvis is just so amazing. You see this? Persistent. It's telling you that this is a grinding type of structure. So expect it to take time. And it's telling you be poised, right? Don't rush. This is balanced. don't enter at close to price. Give yourself some breathing room. Okay, this is balance. Okay. Um, so, and look how this candle is almost literally chopped right in half, 50% of this bearish manipulation bar. So let's just say this wasn't here. We'll turn off the stat map for a second. It's gone. Okay. Take a look at where the EMA 21 and 50 is. You see that? Right here. Right here. Look at that. You technically could use this as well. See? See that? This is what the market does. Right? You really gotta pay attention to these things. That is like is drawing right through. Because look, this wasn't existing yet. Like let's go back and let's go ahead and rewind this real quick. By A2 print here. There is your EMA 21 and 50 right here. So this could have been your entry here, especially with this same balance. Right? If you had entered here, you wouldn't have gotten tapped. You probably wouldn't have gotten tapped in. It probably would have been longer than that, actually. But here, just about 60% up, 55 to 60% up the bar. So this was a loss. But again, I got out because I saw that this was no longer ahead. Right? We were now aligned, and we were nowhere near TP. Um, so that is the update for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, subscribe to Jarvis YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're also on X. And follow the movement, man. This is a different way. I'm not saying that this is the only strategy out there, but I'll tell you what, man. When you really start to get yourselves involved with Jarvis, you're going to really start to understand what these structures are and how it's built out and how it drops these little clues. Because as you can tell in any of these videos, there hasn't been any front running at all. The only video that I had out there that was the unicorn, which even then, that's pressure. It's pressure mechanics. It's a pressure intelligence in it that's managing the pressure in the volume and the velocity of these candles, and then it's giving you some kind of forecast. But in Jarvis terminology, you don't front run the market. You follow price, and this gives you all the information that you're gonna need, and then you just pull the trigger when it's time for you to do it. So that's another video in the Jarvis video series. Thanks for watching.